What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
What's up, man?
What's good, my guy?
Ain't nothing, man. Ain't nothing, man. Working, staying
I hear
busy.
that. I hear that, man. Good to see you live and direct. What's up,
Likewise.
everybody watching live? We got YouTube, Facebook. I heard they even downloading our stuff on the back channel illegally, man. We just appreciate all the love. Everybody being here. Welcome to episode 4 of Compin Atlanta, where we come together to be able to showcase how to analyze the market in Atlanta from an investor's point of view, but not just any type of investor. Investors that are actually in the market. We're doing deals, we're doing fix and flips, buy and holds. You call it, we've done it, we're doing it, and more importantly, we're probably one of the best type of investors that you've ever seen because we work with agents. Some of us actually own brokerages. Shout out to Top Brokerage. Some of us are actually doing multifamily deals. We're doing all types of deals. So we're not your standard regular type of investor. We're multifaceted. And because of that, we got something to say. We thought, hey, what's the best way to make sure that the Atlanta marketplace continues to be the best, especially when it comes to, in my opinion, one of the most important parts of real estate, wholesaling. Using that wholesale strategy, one of the number one issues that we have is understanding the value of these properties, comping them so that you can send them to cash buyers like myself, like my guy Ty, and other individuals that you've seen on this podcast before. Sending it at the right number gets you your deal quicker, your money faster, and more importantly, the problem solved for the individual, the man or the woman or the family members that you were helping in the first place. So, with all that being said, my guest needs no introduction, but I gotta give him his just desserts, man. If you see a plane, automatically know it's him and his partner making money and helping people. Fat shots to my guy Ty, the investor, and Property Jeff for joining us in his amazing studio. What's up, man?
What's going on, man? Appreciate you for having me on.
Oh, for
Definitely
sure.
wanna help the people out, kind of show people how we go about, analyzing deals, and drop some game as well. You know what I mean? Some things that people may not know. I'm always about dropping value. For people who seen me before on social media and things like that, they know that's what I do, and that's what I intend to do today. All the while, just helping somebody uh, get 1% better today than they were yesterday.
There you go. That's what it takes. That's what it takes. So, Todd, tell us a little bit about yourself, your company. You know how you guys started out in this industry. Why we should listen to you? Like why you know anything about company in the first place? Yeah, you got some cool glasses on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got the outfit to match with the company brand name and everything. That's all cool. But tell us a little bit how you earned your stripes in this thing.
Yeah, good question, man. Like I feel like people should, listen to me or at least, take bits and pieces of what I've done because I started out with zero deals. I started out with nothing, right? Kind of like how everybody who gets into it starts out. They don't have any experience. They didn't have anything to do understanding what real estate was. So basically, my background was I was working in corporate for about 7 years, actually being like a logistics freight broker. So I was basically the middleman between, multi-million dollar, billion dollar companies who ship products on semi trucks and 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 connecting them with truck drivers, right?
Hmm.
So I was just doing that. So I was cold calling those guys, asking for their business. So when somebody, I'm cold calling somebody about a $200,000 house, and they tell me to f off, I don't have any feels for that because I've been told to f off by millions dollar, billion-dollar companies. So,
The game.
um, everybody knows, COVID came in. I started losing some of my accounts. I was making good money there. It's a phone sales job. So everybody who knows anything about phone sales, the turnover is high. So I was there for 7 years. So that means I was doing something right. Um, so I was making good money. Then, COVID started happening. I started losing certain accounts because people started losing their jobs and things like that. So when that happened, I kind of looked into, other streams of, income. I did a little bit of investing, if you want to call it that. I purchased a townhome at one point back in like 2018, and I sold it like a year later for like a $10,000 profit. Other reasons why I did that, but so I had a little taste of real estate that way, and I kind of do what everybody else did, right? Kind of look on Google how to get into real estate with no money, little money, things like that. Went down the rabbit hole on YouTube and started, learning, looking at videos and learning the concept. And I realized the concept was simple to what I was doing. You're just playing the middle person, and connecting to connecting the dots essentially. And for me, I understood what the process was. I understood what the concept was. The next thing after that is just taking action, right? That's the main point of doing anything that you do. You have to take action. If you don't take any action, nothing's going to get done. So essentially, that's what I did. Started taking action, cold calling people, getting cussed out, getting the whole thing, getting hung up on, do not call me, dealing with hearing voicemails over and over and over again. The whole night I was doing that all the while I'm working my full time job. I would come home from work at like 6 o'clock at the afternoon in the evening, and I would call for like an hour or so because I didn't want to call after like 7:30. I'll do that Monday through like Thursday. And then on Saturdays is when I had an off day. And that's when I started calling for a longer period of time, right? I would call from 10 a.m. to like 4 p.m. on a Saturday and start generating leads. So I understood the game was you have to generate leads in order to make offers, in order to get contracts, in order to get deals. So if you don't have any leads, you can't make any offers. So the main focus for me was to get leads so I can then make some offers and then essentially get contracts and deals. And that was kind of like my process. I did that. It took me about 6 months to close my first deal. And it was a lot of learning. I started doing it at the freeway, doing True People Search and, trying to skip trace for free. Started driving for dollars and adding properties that way. Trying to cold call and text message off of my cell phone with Google Voice, the freeway. But I realized real quick that the freeway was extending my success, like how long it was going to take for me to succeed. So in order to be efficient, I needed to invest in software, PropStream, call tools, a dialer system, pay for my skip tracing, things like that, because all of
Mm-hmm.
that saves me more time and I become more efficient. So once I did that, the wheels started spinning a little bit faster. Started building my database with leads. Ended up, getting a property under contract. Made like 4 grand off of it. I gave the realtor $1,000 for the referral on the buyer. I kept 3 grand. I reinvested my money back into the business. What people don't do, I reinvested that little 3 grand into buying more data, skip tracing more records, and hiring a virtual assistant. And I hired a virtual assistant because I knew what to expect from cold calling based off of my experience cold calling for 5 6 months, right? So I didn't want to hire somebody if I didn't know what the hell to experience or what to expect or how to lead or how to train or how to guide them. So I waited until I closed my deal, kind of got punched in the mouth a few times, doing the cold calling. Then I said, hey, I'm going to invest in the virtual assistant. Once I invest in that virtual assistant, things started to pick up, more leads started to come, and then more deals started to come. Then eventually I met up with my partner. And I'll go into this too. My partner Mike, he reached out to me on Instagram because he saw what I was doing, my grind. I documented my journey. I documented me cold calling sellers, going on Instagram Live, cold calling sellers, putting up videos and things like that of conversations, just being real transparent, authentic, and genuine, and realistic about what this business is about. He reached out to me, said, "Hey, man, I'm moving down to Georgia in a few months. Would love to JV with you, partner up with you." And I was like, cool, let's do it. And from that point, he was just very consistent with reaching out, and we were having conversations, giving me value. I was giving him value on things that I knew, things that he didn't know. We were just exchanging value. So then he comes down, and at the time, like I said, I was working a full time job. I didn't have enough time to reach out to my actual leads in my database. I had about 100 something leads in my database that I needed to call. He had more time, but he just didn't have the leads. So the conversation was like, hey, man, I'll give you access to my CRM and my database. You call those leads. Anything that you get under contract and we close, we'll split 50-50. So we did that. I gave him access literally probably like 3 weeks or a month later, we get a property under contract. It was for like $8,000 and we closed that and we split it. We did that probably 2 or 3 times before we officially said, hey, okay, let's make this official. Let's become partners and actually, take this thing serious and blow it up. And that's essentially kind of how we got started. We probably did over 150 grand last year from April to December, and yeah, and we end up getting the office this year. So it was just so quick on how fast we were able to grow. So,
Hold
and
on,
that's the
hold
reason
on.
why people should listen to me, because I started from zero.
Listen, man. You done dropped so many bars. I wanted to jump in, but I didn't want to mess up the flow. I need to. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and get a bell or a gong or something because you deserve to be celebrated, my guy. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that you said. I want to just point out some of the major things that I heard you bring out. Is that number one, you kept on getting your ass beat. Like,
Yeah.
you didn't quit, right? We was just doing the podcast yesterday. In fact, shout out to my guy Lenny. You guys should definitely check out his podcast. We'll put it here in the show notes as well. Amazing podcast. We was doing the podcast yesterday. One of the main things that we brought up as a rule to success is you got to show up. And the thing about showing up is you got to show up every day consistently. And so that's, to me, it's like one of the things that I heard you bring out. Like, you got cursed out and you kept going, you kept going at it. And then that energy that you put out attracted your partner to you. And you guys didn't just quickly jump into it. You know what I mean? Like, I've heard a lot of horrible stories about that. I thought it was gonna work. I partnered with somebody and it didn't turn out. You guys are like, look, I'm taking W's over here and L's over here. You're taking W's on this side of the table and L's on the opposite side. How about we just partner up? So now my L's are where you're strong at, and vice versa. And you guys did that until you felt comfortable, you liked each other, the money was flowing in. You said, hey, listen, we should definitely take off, right? I'm assuming that's why it's called Property Jet, because you guys are moving so fast. You guys had made six-figure business from April to December. Like, dude, cool. Congratulations to y'all. And I know you got an amazing crew that's behind you guys that comes to the office and get it in. A couple of young, hungry cats, man. I love those dudes. So for sure, man, we excited that you're here. Shout out to everybody in the chat blowing it up. This is Compin Atlanta. We're doing this every Thursday at 3 p.m. And we're just going to get right into it. We got a few people here. So listen, if you got a deal that you want to get comped, right? All you got to do is showcase in the chat. We're watching all of the chat, whether you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube, and just say, hey, listen, I got a deal. We'll get you to send over the address and we'll go ahead. Todd, do you have access? Could you share your screen and everything or no?
Yeah, I can share it.
All right, so I'll let you take control to share your screen. I'll watch the comments. Also, we'll give a shout out to, Todd has, we'll talk about it at the end, but he definitely has some extra ways you can get knowledge from him and what he's doing and everything he has going on in the community in Atlanta. He's buying all over, but Atlanta is where they really hold it down and really get it in. So we'll go ahead and get started and let you get into it, my guy.
Okay. How does the thing work? Is it my screen being shared right now?
Yep. Yeah, you good. You good.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I guess until people have any properties, I'll go ahead and
Well, we
just
got
give a.
one. Sherry
You got
said
one?
she
What
said
is it?
I need help with this one. So let's go right there. What's the address on that one? And we'll help you out. Now, what we could do, if anybody is feeling, want to keep their address to themselves or whatever like that, I totally understand. What you can do is you can send me a message and I'll be able to see the address. So you can do it. In fact, you should just do it straight off of, um, we could do Facebook Messenger since everybody's already, we got a few people that's on there too. So I have my messenger open. You can message me there. Or if you're feeling the love, just put it in the chat and we'll get right into it in the YouTube chat. So that works perfect. All right. So Todd, before we get into our first property, right? What's some of the things that you like? Some of the rules you teach your team on how to comp. All right. And are you like, when are you comping the property? Is it like, hey, we get the phone call and we go out, meet the seller, do all this other stuff first, and then you comp it? Or as soon as the lead comes in, before I skip trace it, I'm comping properties? Like, give us the order of when comping comes into play and how important it is in your business.
Yeah. So for us, we don't really start comping properties until we have a conversation with a seller and they are expressing interest in selling and have some kind of motivation or in a distressed situation. Because we don't want to waste time, because time is our most valuable asset, our commodity, right? So just imagine if you comp every single property that comes into your database, you probably spend 5 to 10 minutes probably looking for comps on that particular property, and then you give the call to the seller. They probably don't answer the phone, so that 10 minutes is wasted. Or if they do answer the phone, they're not really serious about selling the property. So we spend most of our time, talking to people who are serious about selling the property, and then that's at that point, that's when we start to look at comps and do our research and property analysis.
Perfect. Perfect. Love it. Love it. All right. So the chat is getting blown up. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to put up my contact number so you guys can be able to send the messages with the address to this number. And that way we'll be able to put it up. Now, what other thing I want to do, shout out to my guy. Perfect. So I'm getting messages already with address. So I'll leave my phone number or you can Facebook message me. But I got my guy on here and he's doing exactly what I want to make sure that we ensure that we do in these type of events. Listen, if you're joining this event, I don't ever do an event where the goal of the event is not to be able to make money. Now I understand everybody comes to these events and they're like, "Oh man, Eddie's a real goal giver." Listen, I am, but when I do these type of things, understand that my kids and my queen, like they're not getting my attention, right? And so I have to go out here and do something worth of value to bring back so that it made it worthwhile for them missing out on who they think is the most amazing person in the world, right? And in order for me to do that, I lead by giving value so that you guys can be able to get something out of it. So here's what I want you guys to start doing. When you come into these things, put into the chat what you have and also what you're looking for. If you have a deal, say, I got a deal, I'm looking for a buyer. If you need a deal, say, hey, I got money, I'm looking for a deal. My guy Zook just said, hey, listen, this is perfect. Let me show this right here. See that? I'm looking for deals too. I have a buyer looking for a house to purchase and rent out. It's exactly what should be happening. Now, what I would tell you guys is to be one step ahead of the game and go ahead and put some form of contact information. Rob, let's go. We'll put you up first. Put some form of contact information in your name. So whether it's an email or your IG or a business phone number you want to put, do that so that people can reach back out to you. Also, this is forever material. So people are going to watch this a week from now, a month from now, 2 years from now. And if your information is on here like, hey, look, I'm a buyer, send me deals, they'll be able to look you up even afterwards and be able to connect. So we're going to start with our first questions while I get all of the addresses ready for you. Ty, how do you pre-qualify the prospect and move forward? Shout out to Meme. What's up?
Yeah, so initially, what we do is one, we try to identify one if they're the owner of the property. That's like the first thing in the conversation when we first make contact with a lead or a seller. We want to find out if they are the owner of the property. Next, we want to find out how serious they are about selling, why they want to sell the property. So because we're trying to identify a distressed situation, right? Because you want to focus on, distressed sellers and not distressed looking properties. And I'm gonna repeat that because that's been a complete game changer for us and for me. Once I realized, because you start driving for dollars, you start seeing these bandos, you start seeing these boarded up houses and things like that. When you first get into the game, people tell you to look for that. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with looking for that, but a lot of those situations, the owners of those properties aren't in distressed situations. They probably own them, they're holding on to them, they're probably getting ready to renovate them or whatever the case may be. Um, but when you start focusing on the seller situation, as far as their distress, whether it's a financial distress, whether they have to relocate to move to a different place, the property doesn't have to look bad. It's just the seller is in a situation. I was one of those sellers, right? I had a townhouse that I had. I couldn't afford it for a certain period of time. I had to sell it. The townhouse was beautiful. It was nice. I had to
Mm-hmm.
sell it. The property didn't look bad. The property wasn't distressed, but I was. So once you start paying attention to the seller's situation, that's when the game is going to start changing. So when we pre-qualify, we want to understand why are they looking to sell, if they're the owner, and kind of and kind of ask about an asking price, right? Kind of see if it's a ballpark price that they're looking at, because if the ARV is around 300,000, they're asking for $1 million. Well, that person isn't qualified. We don't want to talk to them, right? And then on top of that, we want to find out a timeline or a time frame in which they're looking to sell the property. If they say, "Yeah, I want to sell, but I'm gonna sell it in 2 years," well, that's somebody that we don't want to talk to today. So the main thing is one, seeing if they're the owner. 2, finding out why they're looking to sell, identify that distress situation. 3, see what that ballpark price is looking like, and then 4, understanding what that time frame is for them to sell.
All right, perfect. There you go. There you go. So we got our first address. What I'll do is, Ty, I'm just gonna text it to you if that easy for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I bet. So here's our first address. We got over here in Northeast Atlanta, and we're just looking for comps on this. So when you guys send your deals over as well, if you want to put some information down about like the situation or whatever, then definitely do that. So while Todd's looking it up, I'll answer some of the questions. Here we go. I got Tina. At this point in your career, are you still using scripts? So scripts is an amazing thing. I absolutely love scripts, but the way I teach my team is different, right? So for example, you saw Todd show you his team scripts, got it written out, already squared away there. I use that, and then what I do is I do a separate training along the way. I want to make sure we're clear. A lot of you guys, you're hiring VAs and things like that, and that's all good. But the problem, what you're doing is you hire your VA day one, and you're like, all right, boom, here's the script, go to work, get me 8 leads by the end of the day. Listen, it's not going to work. More importantly, if you can't do that, what makes you think your untrained or unfully trained VA is going to be able to do that? I don't care where they're hiring from, right? So what you want to do is you can start using the script, but you got to teach your team why they're saying the things that they're saying. Teach them the mind frame, the framework of, hey, here's where we're at in the script. We're talking about the condition of the property. Here's why we're working with the condition of the property. Here's why we're asking about price, but we really don't care about price because we're more focused on the reason why they want to sell it. What's that about, right? So we go into detail. That way, what ends up happening, team, is that you end up teaching someone exactly why they're saying the things that they're saying. And at that point, they don't necessarily need to use your script word for word. They can put their own personality into it and legit be the best salesperson, closer, whatever you got them doing that they can be, because they're not pretending to be a version of you, which they could never do. They're not pretending to be a version of Ty, which they could never do, or Eddy Charger. They're being the best version of themselves and still yielding results that you require because you took the time to explain the framework of why they're using the script and how they use it. Hope that makes sense. All right, Ty, what you got for us?
All right. So I use I use 3 different softwares to find comps, and that's pretty much what our team does as well. Because we utilize PropStream is the one that I primarily. That's what I'm going to show you guys here. We also utilize Zillow, and if you guys were on the last Compin Atlanta session, that's what Abraham Gray he utilized, and he kind of taught us how to do that as well. And then we also use the FMLS. So when if you have access to the FMLS or the MLS in your market, we utilize that as well, because what we've noticed is there may be some properties that show up on one software that doesn't show up on another software or platform, whatever you want to call it, and vice versa. So if we go on the FMLS, there might be some properties that don't show up on the FMLS, but if we go on PropStream, those comparables show up on PropStream. And then same thing with Zillow. If we go on Zillow, there might be some properties that show up on Zillow that doesn't show up on the FMLS or PropStream. So when we're looking at comps and we're seriously comping the property, if we can't get enough data, then we utilize multiple platforms to find some sort of numbers, right? Um, Now, the first thing I like to say too is when you're somebody said this other day, how to calculate comps. Well, comps is not a calculation. It is what it is. You're not calculating the number. You're looking to find what the after repair value of a property is once it's fixed up, right? And you want to focus on sold. So here's the property right here. For those who use PropStream, I'm gonna do the PropStream way real quick, just show you guys what I'm looking at. So I put the address in right here. I hit details whenever it loads up, right? It has pictures with that, so that's good. So then I hit the comparables and nearby listings tab right here. So it's gonna do its thing. It's gonna populate. So before I do anything, I want to identify, understand what my property is. Like, what are the specs of my property? The important specs, right? So how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms? This is a 3-bed, 1-bath property. Next thing I want to look at, when was the year built? 1948, right? Then the next thing I want to check out, I want to look at the property and I want to see what type of style that house is, right? I want to see if it's a ranch style. I want to see if it's a split level, 2-story, 3-story townhouse or 3-story, whatever the case may be. If it has a basement, if it doesn't have a basement, because you want to compare apples to apples. You don't want to compare apples to oranges, right? You can't compare a ranch style property with a split level style property. You just can't do it to get an accurate number. Um, so I want to look at the property, kind of see what that style of house looks like. So this one kind of looks like kind of like a ranch style. Has probably maybe has a basement down there. Who knows? Um, but I'm looking at the property. So luckily we have photos on this one, so we kind of see what this property looks like. Now these might be outdated. Who knows? And that's what talking to the seller is going to be about. So when I'm looking at properties, I'm looking at what the property looks like. So I know it's not a split level property. So now what I'm gonna do now on here, I'm gonna go ahead and filter it out, right? Um, so I want to get the most accurate comparable, right? The most accurate compare is the most recent. So PropStream automatically puts a date range of a year. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that down to like 6 months because I want to see what sold within the last 6 months to get a more accurate number, right? Because a year from now, properties will probably selling a little bit less than what they're selling for today, more than likely, right? And as you see, the number of comparables go down. 28, that's a lot to look at right now. So I'm just go ahead and hit public record because both is the same thing. So I'm at 13. So now I'm looking at the square footage, right? Ideally, you want to do about 300 square feet more or 300 square feet less than what the subject property has, right? So let's say 1,500 square feet, right? So we're going to do 1,200 as a minimum, 1,800 as a maximum, right? Distance is important. You don't want to go over half a mile. When there's a lot of comparables in the showing up right here, like this is a lot for me. 13 is a lot. So I like to shorten that distance down to a quarter of a mile to zone in and get a tighter number of properties that makes more sense, right? Now you want to look at bedrooms and bathrooms, right? So this is a 3-1. Ideally, you don't want to compare up. So you don't want to compare a 3-bed property with a 5-bedroom property. You know what I'm saying? Because the prices are going to be completely different. It's going to be way off. Um, if anything, compare down if you can, right? To be more safe and more accurate. Um, so from here, PropStream always have this thing here. I take that off. And the year built, right? You can't compare a 1948 build property to a 2000 build property, right? Typically, we can do up to 10 years. I like to stay tight, me personally. But let's just put 10 years for 1958 max, right? The minimum, that's fine. As long as it's not newer build, then you can compare that. That's fine. So from what we're seeing here, we see two properties right here. And now I want to compare, if I scroll across, I want to compare what it looks like. So these are this is a 3 1.5. So for 710,000 in March, year built 1940, that's in range. I'm looking at that as a pretty decent comp. And the square footage, about 1,600 square feet, so about 100 square foot more. I think that's a solid comp. Now we're looking at the next one, right down from there, right? That one sold in May of this year, sold for 750. This was a 3-2, to a full bathroom, right? So that's probably why it sold for a little bit more because it was a full bathroom, right? So ideally, when you're looking at comps, you're trying to see what made this property sell for more than this property, right? And then the square footage is about the same, about 1,600 square feet, and then the year build is 1940. So I think these are solid comparables right here for this particular area. Now I want to see what these houses look like. So I'll copy that, put it on here. Let's see what this house looks like. Now I'm saying if it's a ranch style, if it's a split level. If it's a split level, I don't want that comparable. So I'm assuming it's one of these right here. I would like to get pictures if I could, so I would probably go to another source. I can probably go to Zillow, see if they got some photos there. I'll probably go to like Realtor.com, Redfin, see if they have some photos there. If they don't have photos, typically what I do too, um, I look at the description, right, from the Zillow listing, and the description can tell you what was done to this property. Usually, if the realtor put enough information on there. Let's see if they got a description on here. So here we go. This storybook, post-war bungalow, throughout, main level renovated. So it just tells you it's renovated. So this one is the updated property. So I would say, on the safe side, for me, I'm going to take the lowest ARV so I can be conservative, right? So I know for a fact, I can at least sell it for that. I don't want to say 750. I'll rather do my numbers on a conservative level. So if it does sell for 750, let's say we do take this down, I'm gonna do my numbers based off of the conservative ARV. And if it does sell for 750, well, that's just a win. That's more money, right? Real estate is a numbers game. You don't want to do the wrong numbers, right? You don't want to choose the wrong numbers or go off of the wrong numbers. You want to be as accurate as possible. So I'm saying ARV is going to be 710,000, right? Just based off of what we're seeing here. Now, if I want to dig deeper a little bit more, I can look on Zillow, I can look on the FMLS and things like that. Now, to get it completely renovated, right? Now you need to talk to the seller. If they didn't have photos, I'm looking at these pictures right here. Hey, this is not renovated at all. This is outdated. So now I need to identify what my repair costs are going to be, roughly, right? So I need to see how much work I need to put in there. Now I'm going to use the MAO formula, maximum allowable offer, right? Because that's going to give you the safest bet where it could be a deal if you put in the right numbers, right? So if you put in your ARV 710,000, you multiply that by 0.7, that's 70%, right? In Atlanta, you might be in this area, you might be able to go up a little bit higher. It's 80%, 85%. Who knows? It just all depends on your end buyer and what they're willing to pay. So it's good to have a relationship with buyers and ask them, hey, what percentage ARV are you paying in this area? Because if you can find out what percentage of ARV the buyers are paying, you can understand what price to get the property under contract for to get a deal, right? So let's just say they are buying at 70% of ARV. So you take 710,000 times 0.7. That leaves us with 497,000, right? Now let's say this property from the
But
pictures that
go back real quick. You said times 0.7. Let's pretend I'm slow. Why did you
Mhm.
use 0.7?
So 0.7 is 70% of ARV, right? That's essentially a 30% discount off of ARV is what buyers are looking to get. Some buyers will take 20%, 25%, right? 15%. It just really depends on the buyer. So that's the discount. People say 70% of ARV is essentially a 30% discount, right? Now, why is it 70%? Why is that? Why is that number, right? Because a lot of people they learn, 70% of ARV. I understand it. I know why I don't know why they do that, right? So if you're looking at it from a buyer's perspective, right, you need to calculate rent. So take that 30%, right? Let's break down that 30%. So if a buyer is taking this property and this property particular and they're going to rehab it, we need to set aside 6% for realtor commissions once we sell it on the back end, right? We need to set aside another 6% for holding costs, right? And acquisition costs. And then we need to set it, and then so you got 12% right there. And then the rest of that, this is 18%. That's the profit. So the reason that 30% number can change is because some buyers, they change their profit percentage, right? At 70%, buyers are looking to get 18% profit. Right? Some buyers, they may be able to finagle the realtor commission by negotiating with a realtor, or if they have their own realtor license or whatever the case may be, they can get that commission down. But if they don't, they have to account for that. So that 6%, that's a constant. That's not going to change. The holding costs and acquisition costs. 6%. That's a constant. That's not going to change. So they're going to have to account for 12% regardless. Now, what determines, every buyer is different. That's how you hear some buyers are paying 85% because they're taking a less profit. And that other 7, let's talk about the 70%. The 70% on the 70% side, that's the purchase price, right? You know what I'm saying? So they want to get the property at a 30% discount. That makes sense?
Yep, makes sense. If you guys are stuck on any part of that, make sure I mean, this is what we're doing this for, right? So don't be embarrassed or be whatever. Like, just be like, hey, I'm stuck. Explain that or whatever, and we'll run it back like we do with our team, so that you can be able to get a good grasp of it. Because this part right here is the most important part of the game. You learn this part right here, you'll never have a trouble moving a deal or a contract ever again.
Facts. And I was in the same situation. Like I knew, like, hey, use the MAO formula, right? That's what we're taught. But it wasn't never broken down to me where it makes sense, right? I had to kind of work, get my feet wet, right? Stay active and learn why that makes sense. Talk to buyers, right? Talk to people, network with people. And one point I want to drive across to everybody is you can't do this business by yourself. You can't, right? So if you have a problem with, getting out of your comfort zone, you're going to have to change that, right? You're
Yeah.
going to have to get out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to talk to people you don't know. You're going to have to network. That's what Eddy is putting this stuff together for, so we can get in the same room and communicate amongst each other to get the help that we need, right? So
Yeah.
stop resisting meeting and networking with people. I had somebody reach out to me yesterday and said, okay, how do I get MLS access? I said, well, you need to speak to a realtor, network and connect with a realtor. Then her next question was, how do I do that without speaking to a realtor? Stop resisting the process. I just told you, network with a realtor. Go network with a realtor. That's how you get access. Realtors are valuable.
Hmm.
So step out your comfort zone. So back to what I'm talking about. So now the 70% is the purchase price. So you take the 710,000, the ARV, right? After repair value, after property is fixed up, we believe that from what we're seeing, it can sell for 710 grand. We multiply that times 0.7, right? That's the 30% discount. Now we end up with $497,000, right? Now the buyer isn't going to pay $497,000 just at that discount. They need to account for the repairs that need to be done. So I'm looking at this property. This property is outdated. There's wood panels all throughout this property, right?
So
So
that's a question that we actually have right here.
mhm.
Shout out to Jimmy. How much do you think the rehab will be for this property? And I'll dive even deeper for the people. How do we figure out what rehab costs would be? Is it by square foot? Is it just, we take a stab in the dark? Like, how are we doing it? Especially if we're not even at the property, right? We're looking at pictures. And then on top of that, like, what if we're wrong on that, right? Like, does that mess up the deal? Like, how important is that for us to be able to figure that out? Because
Yeah.
we're
So
not contractors,
right,
you know what
right.
I mean?
So the first thing I always say is, one, you want to network with people in your market because every market is different. We're here in Atlanta, right? So I'm assuming most of the people are in Atlanta. Talk to people who are working, right? Who are actually doing fix and flips. Ask them what they're paying, right? You can talk to contractors and you can ask them, well, how much are you guys charge for paint per square foot? How much do you guys charge for flooring per square foot? Right? You have to put in the legwork to get the answers you need. It's just not going to appear out of nowhere. So if you want accurate ballpark, numbers that you can really work with, you got to talk to people. You gonna have to talk to people. You can't just figure it out, right? Because everybody's gonna have a different price, but you want to talk to multiple contractors to ask what are they charging, what does it cost per square foot on paint, what does it cost per square foot on flooring, right? What is you paying to get a kitchen fully renovated, right? So you can network. That would probably be my opinion. That's probably the best way to go about doing it because these are the people that would be hired to do the job, right? Hearing it directly from me, it can help, but is it accurate? No, because some of those folks might be different. They have different pricing. Um, so it just all depends, right? You can do it based off of do it per square foot, things like that. We're doing a rehab right now, and I'm transparent about everything that I do. We underestimated the rehab costs, so we have to front some money out of pocket to get it done. We're still going to make profit on the back end, but we underestimated some of the costs, and that's part of the learning process, right? You have to jump into the water to learn how to swim. You can't learn how to swim not swimming, right? So you have to try out and see what it looks like, but you want to get a good estimate, right? Um, so initially, and I can break down kind of some ballpark estimates right now for everybody, from based off of what we're seeing. So interior, exterior paint, you're probably looking at around 8 grand on an 1,800 square foot house, right? Interior, exterior paint, that's 8 grand. So if you want to split that up, you can do half and half, 4 grand for the interior, 4 grand for the exterior. That's paint included, materials and labor. That's what we're looking at. We've gotten estimates for like 6 different contractors, and they've been in that range. Roof, we haven't repaired a roof. I had to replace a roof, so that price may be a little bit different. Eddie, what you thinking on roof right now?
So obviously, the bigger your square footage, the more it's going to
Mm-hmm.
cost for that. But on like an average 3-2, we're looking at somewhere between 7 and 10,000.
Yeah.
Right, it just depends in that range. But believe it or not, even with all the other prices, roofing isn't one that like went up too high.
Mm-hmm.
Is really honestly finding a contractor to be able to do it in time for whatever your project, because everybody's backed up.
Yep. So if you want to just create, like, you can create your own little cheat sheet, rehab cheat sheet. So I just told you,
Hmm.
interior, you write this down. Interior paint, let's say 4,000, and you want to be over a little bit over on your estimate on your rehab versus being under on it, right? You want to have that buffer, and that's what we didn't have outside of some unexpected things that came up, but that's another story. So interior paint 4,000, exterior paint 4,000, right? So that's 8,000 for paint, right? And then what you can do too, you can take that and break it down into the square foot. So you just take down, okay, for interior paint, if I'm paying $4,000 for interior paint, let me divide it by the square footage. The square footage on this property is 1,480. That's $2.70 per square foot for interior paint, right? So now you can take that and apply that to any square footage for the most part. And you can do the same thing with exterior paint. You take that 4,000, so you're looking at $2.70 per square foot, right? Now you look at the flooring. Flooring, I'm thinking, around $3 a square foot will probably be
Yeah.
where you want to be. $3 a square foot flooring. You can do LVP. You can do carpet. Carpet is going to be cheaper than the laminate or the LVP or the hardwood or the tile. So you can do like $3 a square foot, right? Some people may charge you more. Some people may charge you less.
Now,
But
now listen. I know what's happening right now, right? Because I used to be that guy, right? Or like, or there's a woman in here like, oh, it's not. I mean, it could be $3. Like, I thought they was gonna give me exact numbers, man. I need exact numbers so that when I present my deal, I know it's right. Here's something that's gonna save you all so much time, heartache, and energy. No matter what you project or what you predict or what you assume the repair cost will be, it will never be what
right,
your buyer is actually going to spend. Let me say that one more time. It will never equate the exact same amount. And I'll tell you why. Because they typically can buy and get things done at a cheaper price point, or they may have it all figured out and then they take down a wall and then realize this was termite infested, so now the cost changed, or we didn't realize that this particular problem was in the property when we did our initial inspection, but now it's our problem and we have to do it. So now the cost changed. Don't be so hard on yourselves to try and figure out the exact dollar amount. What you're looking for is the best guesstimate range of what repair costs will be. Now, if you really want to get into the nick and crannies of it all, what you do is what Todd dropped a bomb at. I'm gonna get a whole sound system thing. I'm gonna get like a flex bomb, bro. So as soon as you drop something crazy, it really sounds off to everybody that's paying attention. You got to open up your mouths. If anyone's here trying to be successful in this business, you cannot be a ninja at this business. You can't be 007 James Bond or Jane Bond of real estate wholesaling. You got to talk to realtors so you can get connected and be able to provide them value. You got to talk to your cash buyers. If you really want to figure out how do I know for sure how much a rehab is going to cost, Find a property, bring it to a cash buyer, and say to them, how would you do this? What's your numbers at cost? Now you know exactly what that particular cash buyer is spending on a rehab for a 3-2 in this particular shape. And now next time you bring them a deal, you're more likely able to sell it to that cash buyer because you know how they look at numbers and how they think on their deals. But don't get caught up. Until you do that, do not get caught up on, man, he said 3, but he also said 5 for some things. You just want a good range that makes more sense. And like you said, go over instead of under, right? Stop thinking about your wholesale fee. Stop thinking about your wholesale fee. Go over so that you can make sure there's a buffer space for your investor that's coming in and do the work, and you guys can be able to do more deals together. Promise you.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So yeah, I'm gonna just break down like the main things that you want to kind of take note of, and those are what you're gonna put in your repair cheat sheet, right? So we got interior paint, we got exterior paint, right? Let's say 4,000 interior, 4,000 exterior. Flooring, do $3 per square foot, right? So in this particular property, 1,500 square foot property, we're looking at what's that? 4,500 for flooring, right? Roof, 10,000. Water heater, let's go ahead and just put an estimate probably around, you can get a cheap water heater, but we want to be on the safe side. We want to make sure we have an overestimate estimate versus an underestimate. So let's say like $2,000 for a water heater. It's not expensive to get a water heater. Water heaters usually cost around $500, and you might need to get somebody to install it. Let's say $2,000 just to be safe, right? HVAC, anywhere between $3,000 to $5,000, right? That's per condenser or whatever the outside unit. The outside unit is called condenser. You know what I mean? You may be able to get it cheaper, but 3,000 to 5,000, that's kind of the range you want to be in. The kitchen, you want to do a full kitchen update. Kitchen's starting to get expensive now. Cabinets are high, right? If you got to replace and repair the cabinets and get new cabinets, you get ready to pay some money, right? We just paid $2,000 for some new cabinets, right? So I would say, kitchen, granite countertops, backsplash, and this is all including labor and things like that, right? So you want to be, around, $10,000 for a full kitchen update. A full bathroom, looking at about $3,500. A half bathroom, you're probably looking at about $1,500. So those are like the main things that you kind of want to take account for. Don't overthink it, right? You create your little cheat sheet, you do an Excel spreadsheet, you put one column interior, you put the item, next column you put the cost, the next column you put the number of it, right? So if you got 2 bathrooms, you're gonna have to put 2 and it'll create a formula. And we made it so simple. If you guys want the Excel cheat sheet for the rehab, just shoot me a message, DM me or whatever, I'll give it to you. That way you can just type in the number. It'll calculate a total estimate on repairs, ballpark, where you're a little bit more over. That way you have an accurate number. So let's say this property going to need a full renovation. Look at this bathroom. Bathroom is terrible. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can probably save some of this stuff, but if you want to get $710,000, you're going to have to compare what that $710,000 property looked like. Unfortunately, we don't have actual pictures to see it, but we saw in the description that it was completely renovated and updated, right? So we're going to assume that we got to go all out. So we got to get floors done. We got to take this wood stuff off. We got to do drywall right here. We got to make it look nice. We got to get light fixtures. You know what I'm saying? We put carpets in the bedrooms, new carpet there. These cabinets probably can save. I look like we could save these cabinets. You're going to save some money doing that. Paint these cabinets up. We got to check out these appliances. Put backsplash here. Granite countertops, the whole nine. We got to make this thing look nice, right? So we'll calculate everything that needs to be done here. So let's say we're going to paint, right? We'll come up with a quick little estimate here. So we're going to do interior, exterior paint. That's 8,000 plus flooring, right? It's 4,500. Let's assume we don't need a roof. If the water heater is over like 7 years old, we're probably going to have to replace that. So let's assume that water heater is outdated. That's 2,000, right? Let's assume we have to change the condenser, right? So we'll put 5,000 for that. Full kitchen renovation, 10,000. How many bathrooms is it? It's one bath. So let's go ahead and do 3,500, right? So we're looking at probably around 33 grand for this renovation, right? But now you still have to add in, you have to take into account, other expenses too, right? Like landscaping and things like that. Oh, this is gonna need a new HVAC unit. You see this? So things like this you have to pay attention to. This is an outside window unit, so we're gonna have to get that swapped out. So the HVAC is probably gonna cost more than 5,000 now because we got to get a whole unit and we got to do central heating and air, right? Because that's what's selling. Y'all know it's hot in Atlanta now. If you ain't got that central heating and air, you in trouble. So for something like this, I would say probably about, I would estimate a little bit higher. I would probably say about 35, maybe 40,000 in repairs. Right? I just want to be on the safe side. I'd rather be over on my repairs and lose the deal than to get the deal and then I'm struggling to sell it because my numbers are off. Right? Or you have to come back to the seller and renegotiate and now you look bad, right? Now you got a bad reputation, right? Now the seller doesn't want to work with you, right? Because your numbers were off, right? But there are times where you have to renegotiate. That's part of the business, right? But you want to be as accurate as possible on the front end just to make sure that, okay, hey, I know this is going to be a deal. Because that's going to, for people that's new, that's going to build your confidence because you know it's a deal, right? And you have to go through a ton of deals and do this a ton of times to actually find somebody that's going to accept the number based off of the repairs, right? So now let's say we're estimating 40,000 in repairs. Remember, we did our number. ARV is 710,000 times 0.7, which is a 30% discount. That leaves us with 497,000. The buyer's not going to buy it at that, right? We got to take out repairs. So let's just account for $40,000 in repairs, right? So let's subtract 497 from 40,000. 40,000 from 497. What's that? 457.
Mm-hmm.
That price right there, that's what the buyer's willing to pay for that property. So we know, if we know the buyer's willing to pay that number right there for the property, if we get this property under contract for less than that, it's a deal.
Money on the table.
It's a deal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you identify and analyze a deal, and understand, like, okay, I know where I need to get it at. So if a seller comes in and say I need 500,000 for it, well, that's not a deal because my buyer's not going to pay that. I need to get this property under contract for less than 457,000 to get a deal. If I want 10K, I need to get this property locked up at 447.
So, man, I hope that answered your question. That's exactly how you do it. You run through the process, looking at the numbers through the eyes of investors because you guys are investors, plain and simple. And you got, not only are you guys investors, you have cheat sheets, right? You got individuals who are doing what you want to do, like myself, like Todd, Abraham, some of the guests that we already had, Rod. Like, they understand the game, but also you can reach out to other cash buyers and say, hey, listen, I got this property and this is what I'm thinking. What's your thoughts on it? How would you go about it? How much you think the costs are going to be for the repairs that you're going to do? They might have something totally different, but now you know you got a strong, valid buyer that you present a good deal. They will buy from you. More importantly, they know who you are, they respect you, and they took the time to talk to you and you gave them value. They're going to buy that property with no problem, hands down. So that's definitely one of the things that I wanted to be able to point out. So, all right, that definitely answered this question. So that's good. I'm glad. I hope that helps. Now, here's the thing. Like, what if you go back to the seller and you're like, hey, listen, this is how much you got paid for the property. And they're like, oh, well, I wanted 700,000. You guys know how to have the conversation with the seller. You don't have to hide the fact that you're going to make money, right? I think a lot of wholesalers, their issue is, I'm going to give the offer, but the seller's going to say no. And then I don't know how to explain this to the seller of why I need the property at this price point. We just did the whole thing. Go back, review it, take notes on it, go copy your property, follow the same steps that he just did. And then now you have what the deductions are going to be. And you can put, like, the investor wants to be able to make X amount of dollars. You add your wholesale fee to that because you're part of his investment group. So you tell your seller, listen, we're not trying to kill you over the head. typically we are looking to be able to make 50 grand on every deal that we do. Out of that 50, 40 probably goes to your investor, 10 goes to you. But you can walk the seller back from why it doesn't make any sense to overpay you for a property that we're going to have to put 50,000 into, and here's the 50,000, here's the expenses. I promise you, sellers will not only respect you more because of it, but they'll understand it, and that's how you can easily start to negotiate. And when you're dealing with a person who has a situation problem and not a distressed property problem, you'll be able to solve their problem by doing it that way instead. All
Yep.
right. So for
Let me
sure. Go ahead.
piggyback on that real quick, Eddie. Like, and he's making a good point. Sellers want you to be straight up with them. Just
Mm-hmm.
like you want people to want to be straight up with you, it's the same situation. You don't have to duck and dodge and beat around the bush. Be straight up, be honest. People respect you more that way, right? And they'll be more willing to work with you. And that's
Yeah.
what we've been finding. Like for me, I'm there's no black and it's black and white with me. There's no gray area. I'm gonna tell you what it is, how it is. It's up to you to make the decision whether or not you want to move forward or not. And our job is not to force anybody to sell or influence anybody to sell the property. It's to tell them what the property worth. If they accept the offer, great. If they don't, great. On to the next. Follow up in a couple weeks. See if
Mm-hmm.
their situation changed. See what I said? See if their situation changed, not their price, the situation.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I think Jimmy he said, knowing all this, what would you offer right now? Da 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 da. I would probably offer probably around 420 for this.
That's a good price all day. That's a good price. Listen, the number one thing that you guys probably miss out on is after all this is done. Todd just said it, man. I gotta get that flex bomb. I'm gonna get it, bro. I'm gonna download the app or something. But Todd just said it, man. Like it's the follow up. It's the follow up, you guys. Listen, if a seller is asking way more than what you done did the math, and it doesn't make sense that they're asking that price, do you think that just because you couldn't buy it at that price, that some other investor is going to be able to buy it at that price? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. Unless that investor is coming with a whole different buying strategy, they need to buy it at pretty much the same price you need to buy it at. But you know what everybody else is going to do? They're going to call the seller, tell them the price. Seller's going to say, go kick rocks. They're going to hang up and they're going to move on to the next person, and they never follow up or follow up enough with that same person. Follow up is the most sexy part of my game. People be like, man, Eddie, you look like you're doing things, whatever. My superpower is that I follow up really, really good, to the point where sometimes my follow up calls, we don't even talk about the property. I'm legit. Like when I take notes on my calls, I put on a note, oh, she had a dog barking crazy in the background. When I follow back up, hey, Susan, how you doing? Good. Damn, just checking in on you. How's the dog? Susan don't even remember who I am. But the fact that I asked her about the dog and everything like that, soon what happens is she starts to remember, oh, this is that guy with the. Now she is giving me the update. I didn't even bring up the house. Our relationship is being built. I'm being consistent. I'm following up. And so when the situation, like Todd just said, when the situation has changed and they're ready, first person they're going to say yes to is going to be you all day. All day,
100%.
every day. So good looking on that one. We got Sherry's property next. I just sent you that one. So now what we're gonna do is, since we kind of walked you guys through the whole process, we're gonna start banging some of these out,
Yeah.
and giving you guys like, here's how we would comp it. If you have questions on it, definitely put it in. We'll definitely get to your questions, and be able to help you guys along the way. We
Milton
want to comp
Streets.
as much as we possibly can before time's up. And yes, we definitely will get you guys an Excel spreadsheet. In fact, here's what we do, because we got a couple of things that we're going to be dropping later on. So at the end, we'll drop it. But if you guys want the Excel spreadsheet, take a screenshot of what's going on right now, and then post it on IG, post it on Facebook, tag us in on it, and then send us well, if you tag us, we'll see it. If you tag it, then we'll send you the Excel spreadsheet that way. Because we want to make sure we're packing this thing out and be able to give value to more people. And you guys can help us do that by spreading the word. If you seem it valuable, definitely do that. We'll get you the spreadsheet with no problem.
Is that the
Awesome.
right?
Good.
Is that the right address?
Um,
168 Milton Street.
yeah, Southwest.
Yeah, it's not popping up. Let's see, typing it out.
Hey, hey, what's going on?
Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. Had to type the whole thing out. All right, so we put this property in. It's the same process over and over and over again. Let me let you guys know something. This thing is not an art; it's a science, right? You can't freestyle this whole thing. You have to create a system and a process every single time. That way, it's duplicatable. You can duplicate it. You can teach it to somebody, and it can be done the same way every single time, right? So it's the same process over and over and over again. So I'm looking at, like I said, I want to understand what this property looks like. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to a quick Google search.
So while he's doing that, PJ asked, Eddie and Ty, are you seeing that you have to adjust your offers based on what the market is doing currently? Ty, what's your thought on that?
Yeah, we're gonna have to adjust a little bit, just a little bit. There's a little bit more inventory that's coming up in the market right now. With the interest rates going up a little bit higher, uh, is some inclination that the buying is not going to be as much from retail buyers. That's what the projections are. So, sometimes the offers are like, especially with the hedge funds. The hedge funds will kind of let you know what's going on, right?
Mhm.
They were gobbling up properties for the past 2-3 years. Right now, they're starting to uh, tighten up and constrict their criteria, which is now showing the inclination that, hey, okay, the prices of, with these seller asking prices, they're really really unrealistic, right? So we have to get them down a little bit lower, especially when we're dealing with hedge funds and things like that. But yeah, just we have to adjust a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Now, what if you're stuck and you're like, man, but how do I know how to adjust? Again, guys, I'm going to keep saying it till it just sounds like, well, you know what? Let me just try it out. Talk to your cash buyers. Like they can give you insight on like, yeah, I'm adjusting. I was buying, at this price point, now I'm buying less. But if you want to be able to just get quick math on it, typically we're doing 5 to 10% lower of whatever ARV currently is. So the ARV says 400 grand, we're coming down 10%, and that's what the new ARV is in our mind. Now, what if it doesn't? Then we just got a better deal for my end investor, or for me, or for Ty, or whoever it is that there's nothing wrong with that. But I'd rather be safe than sorry, thinking that 2 months ago, even a property was selling like hotcakes and was listed for $400 and sold for $450 as is, as opposed to was what we're seeing happening right now is listed for 400,000 and sitting for 20, 30 days, and the market's starting to tap into some sort of normalcy to what's really been going on. So check with your cash buyers, but on the safe side, whatever ARV is, come down 5 to 10%, and you won't be at a loss.
There you go. So I'm looking at this property. So it's a weird one from what I'm seeing. Like on this image, it shows that there's okay, here it is right here. There was a space right there. Okay, so here's the property. So I'm looking at it. I don't even know what this is. This looks like a shack. This doesn't even look like a house. I don't know what this is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the right property? Up 168. So this property looks terrible. So we know we're looking at it. It's not a ranch. Well, it's not a split level. It looks like kind of like a ranch style, right? It's a flat level. It's a one level flat across property. So that's what we're saying, and it looks terrible from the outside. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So right now, I'm just identifying the structure. Is it a ranch? Is it a split level, 2-story, etc. Now I'm looking at beds and bath, 2 bed, 1 bath. Now I'm looking at square footage, 1,200 square feet. Now I'm looking at the year built, 1928. So now I want to go to comparables. Let's see what pops up. We'll go to public record only. Public record is going to show everything. Let that load up. Date range. Remember, I said I want to look at 6 months ago. The activity within 6 months from now and from January to January this year. Remember, square footage. We're gonna say this one is 1,200 square feet. We go down 300, 900 here, and we go up 300. 1,500 here. Remember the distance. We don't want to go. We don't want to exceed 0.5, a half a mile. But there's a lot of activity here, so I'm gonna go down to a quarter of a mile. We get a little bit tighter. Now it's 1. See, I don't like that 1 there, so I'll just go back to a half a mile. But you can look at that 1 and see what it's doing. Like that 1 sold for 150, and it was a 4-bedroom, 1 bath from what they're showing. And then sometimes you can't always go off of these records because the square foot, the bedrooms and bathrooms, that's not always accurate. That's why it's important to talk to your sellers and find out how many bedrooms and bathrooms it is.
Another thing that you guys could do is take the property and go look at the court assessors as far as what they have. Now, what Todd said is key though, because somebody could have a 3-2 according to the court records or tax records, I should say, but they done blew out their basement years ago, and now they added 4 bedrooms down there and never told the city. So you definitely want to make sure you get the accurate info from the seller. If that's not an option, reach out to the courthouse records, tax assessors to be able to get that.
Yep, very important. Very important. So now remember year built. This was a 1928 year built. We go up 10 years max. Anything below that is fine. Sometimes I do the property types and all that. Just do single family, etc. But that's gonna yeah, let's do that because it's like duplexes and things in this area. All right, cool. So this is what I'm looking at. This is what I got. Right here's some comparables that I have. So now I'm looking across. I'm looking at all the 2-bed, 1 bath. So there aren't any. There's only one. This one right here is sold for 220, and that sold in April of this year. Square footage is 1,000. So we already know all of this is going to meet our criteria because we put it in the filters, right? So I'm looking at that 2-1 first. Joseph E. Lowry. Let me see what this property looks like. It's sold for 220. So let me see if that's ARV. And then I'm seeing ballpark prices all over the place, right? I'm seeing as high as 372, and I'm seeing as low as 150. So I'm assuming 150 might be that cash price, that price to an investor, because they might be trying to get that 372, or they might be trying to get that 305. So let's see what this property looks like. This one here. This Joseph E. Lowry. This is the comparable that we're looking at. This is the 2-bed, 1 bath that we saw. Sold for 220 on my birthday. So let's see what was done to this property. As we can see, the property that we have, it looked like a teardown, to be honest, but who knows? So there's no really not a description on here. So we don't know exactly what condition this property is in. So we'll look at this one. We'll look at some other ones as well. So let's see, what's another one that we can look at? 4 is right here. Let's look at number 1, 4-bed, 1 bath. I don't know about that. You can kind of, like I said, you don't really want to compare up, but if I want to kind of get an idea, a bedroom to add a new bedroom, probably gonna run you now maybe 15 to 20 grand. So I would probably take off the price, right? So if I'm seeing, a 3-1 sold for 210, mine is a 2-1. If I want another bedroom, so mine would probably go for probably like 200, 195, 190, something around that line. So that's what I'm looking at. So let me look at the 3-1 right here, this Vine Street one. Let's see if they have something there. So remember, ARV, we're not trying to calculate anything. We're trying to see what the property sold for, because ARV is what it is. Let's see. I don't know if it's my computer loading slow or what. Might be my computer. Cancel out all this stuff. This deal's messing up the server. So I'm gonna keep this Joseph E. Lowry up there because that's something that we can look at. I do want to see the street view of this property though. This is Joseph V. Lowry.
So I want you guys to be able to see something that he's doing, right? Like he's on PropStream. He was using Zillow. He was now going to Google Maps. Like it's not one end all be all. I mean, I use all those. I have access to them MLS, and I still like to check all these other options because, like he said, it's about gathering as much data as you possibly can without having to physically be there in order to be able to make the right choices. So just like your marketing, somebody will say like, man, what should I do? What's the best marketing? Should I text? Should I cold call? Should I do mailers? Honestly, it doesn't matter. It's not about which one's the best one. You want to do all of them. But at any point in time, what you want to be able to do truly is go based off of what you can handle right now. So I'm not suggesting you guys come out and be like, all right, bet I need to subscribe to all these different things. No, do not do that. Please do not do that. What you can do is first, everybody in here should be able to connect with an agent. There's agents that are in this chat. There's agents that's in the Atlanta Joint Venture Group. You have agents that are in the Atlanta Real Estate Connections group. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we just started that. It's going to be a larger group to be able to send people to different avenues. Join those things and say, hey, who here's an agent? I'm looking to partner with somebody. All right. The other aspect that you want to be able to do is to be able to partner with individuals on some of these tools, right? Like, hey, you got PropStream, perfect. How much you pay for it? Boom, let's split it. Like, why are you guys being selfish and stingy with tools and systems that are already making money off you and you ain't making no money yet? Learn to partner with individuals so you can lower your costs of some of these tools and stand a chance of being able to make more money. You know what I mean? Shout out to my guy Chad Glover in the building with us, man. Chad is an amazing human being. Him and his family, they rocking it. I mean, these guys have in the last 12 months have done well over 1 point something million dollars in their wholesale real
Woo.
estate business. Top shelf. He has a YouTube channel. He's consistently giving free game. In fact, Chad, we gotta connect. We should do an event together and just really come through. Have Ty come through. That's what we should do. We should do like a Chad Glover and Friends event, man. I think that'd be fire. Just have everybody come through, pop in, and just give game out for free, man. I think that'd be dope. But yeah, we'll talk online. Definitely check him out. Go to his YouTube page, his Facebook. He's always buying, always helping, and he's not even in this market. He's willing to help people in this market. So look out for that. So what
Yeah.
we're looking at with this one right here.
Yeah, so I'm comparing properties now. So I found this was that property that sold for the Joseph Lowry, sold for 220, 2-1. This is what it looked like. Now I'm looking at it to see if how similar is that property to our subject property. Kind of similar, right? Just doesn't have that porch and that step to go up. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a mental note on that 220, right? But now I want it, like I said, we're looking for ARV. That's the only thing we're looking for. What does this property sell for after it's repaired? So I came across this one right here, 961 Camellia Street, right? So for 305, this is a 3-bed, 2-bath. But here's the thing: square footage is about the same. So in my mind, we need to identify with the seller. Hey, is it really a 3-bed? Is it really a 2-1? Because if it's a 3-2, then bingo, that's what we want, right? But still, if we want it to sell for 305, right, it's going to have to be a 3-2. So I'm looking at this one on Camellia. Let's check this out. See what it looks like. Okay, Camellia compared to the one on Milton, kind of the same, right? Got the little porch. It could be that, right? You guys have to understand these renovations. It changes how these houses look. Once somebody renovates this house, it will never look like this again. So I'm assuming this is going to be the same type of property. Kind of, it's not a split level. It's not a 2-story house. It's that ranch style. So I'm gonna compare those two. Now you can see from the outside picture, it's been renovated. You can even read the description to see what has been done. As we know, this property that we're looking at needs everything done. Um, so this is a 3-2. Like I said, I would kind of want to confirm it. Just make sure that ours is, if ours is a 3-2, great. But if it's still a 2-1, in order to get that 305 that we're seeing here, right, we're gonna have to convert that into get another bedroom and another bathroom. But if we don't have another bedroom, another bathroom, then we need to take off some money. This is what I do. I'll subtract some money. I'll probably subtract maybe about 30, 40 grand. And that'll be my ARV. So if I'm taking away 305, if I'm taking 305 as ARV right now, minus 40K, to be on the safe side, I'd rather be over on that than under.
Yes, yes.
I'm looking at ARV for my 2-bed, 1-bath. If I was just to keep it as a 2-bed, 1-bath, 265,000 would be my ARV, right? And that's being conservative. That's being conservative. Now we see this one on Joseph. That one sold for 220, but it wasn't fixed up. So we fix ours up. I think we can sell it for 265 if it was fixed up. This probably sold for 220 in as is condition, where it needed some repairs. It wasn't as bad as Milton, but it was good shape for somebody to buy it for that price, where they don't have to do too much repairs. Because I can tell from the picture on Joseph, this one isn't completely updated at all. Is it like it's regular? It needs updates.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if they fix it up to where they don't have to put too much money into it because it don't look as beat up as Milton, they can probably sell it for 265, and they paid 220 for it, or they could probably sell it for more. Who knows? But I'm gonna be conservative on my ARV. 265 is what I'm thinking ARV on this property would be. Now we need to do our math, right? What we say before, buyers are, some buyers, depends on your buyer. So you need to identify what your buyers like, what buyers are buying in this area. Right here, you see some cash transactions. That's what this green means. These people purchase these properties for cash.
Hint, hint, clue, clue.
They purchase them for cash, right? Obviously the people who paid more are probably like funds and things like that. And this is why I like PropStream. You go to details, it'll show you who paid, who bought it. And a lot of people always ask the question, how do you find cash buyers? How do you find cash buyers? Well, the software. This is one of the things that helped me be more efficient, right? Yeah, you can use the Facebook groups and things like that. Yeah, you'll find buyers there. You know what I'm saying? But I'm using the software. The FMLS will tell me who paid what, how much they paid, who is it. So this company right here, Westminster LLC, they paid cash, $186,000 for this property 3 months ago, and this is what it looked like. Right? This is what they paid for, $186,000. So now, if I get my property under contract for less than $186,000, I'm looking to find out, how do I get in contact with Westminster as one of my buyers? Hey man, I see you bought a property down here on Drummond. I got a property on Milton, not too far away from you. I got it for, I'm asking 150 grand or something like that, right? But that's just another little tip that I can show you guys.
I told you I was gonna find it, right? I told you I was gonna find it, man. It's running back, man. You gotta drop the bomb on that thing, man. Like, listen.
Get your little air horn that'd be at the
Yeah,
football
oh,
games.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Listen, man, this is it. This is exactly how you do it, right? Like, if you're struggling, you're like, all right, damn, this job is way lower than I thought it was. Now you got the proof in the pudding, and then you can use these same systems, same tools to figure out who your buyer is. Listen, you can look up a property that's sold on the MLS, but sold as a cash purchase, and reach out to the agent. And now you got the agent working for you. Tell the agent, listen, I got a property. You represented a buyer already. I want you to be able to make money off of this. Let me know how we need to be able to do it. The property's in I got the contract ready to go. Find out if your buyers be interested and you can make the money off of it. What agent's gonna what they gonna tell you? No. I don't want free money that you just randomly called me and about to hook me up with a commission. I had to do no work. And I'm gonna look better to my buyer that I just sold him another property to. They're gonna love you. They're gonna love you to death. So that's definitely how you do it. So hopefully that one helps.
Yeah, let me finish the offer on this
Finish
one.
the offer part. Yeah.
Yep. So we got ARV at 265 is what I'm estimating it to be, where I believe it can be. Right. Now we're gonna take that times 0.7. We want that, get that 30% discount. Remember, so 265 times 0.7, looking at 185.5. Right. We need to subtract repairs. So this property, I don't know what it looks like on the interior, but this front part, and it can honestly just be this front part that just looks bad. And that can change the whole thing. You get rid of all this stuff that trees fell on it, whatever. You know what I mean? That can change the whole game, right? The interior might not be that bad. It's probably good structure, et cetera, et cetera. But this part just makes it look terrible. But that's something that we need to find out from the seller, right? We need to ask these questions about, okay, and get real detailed on the questions that we asking the seller. Hey, when's the last time you did updates to the kitchen? Okay, what updates have you done to the kitchen? Okay, what kind of appliances are in the kitchen? Are it stainless steel, black, white, right? What kind of countertops you have in the kitchen? You have granite, laminate. What kind of cabinets? Are the cabinets are good, right? Or do the cabinets need to be replaced? Are they original cabinets, right? So you're painting a visual picture by asking these questions to identify, okay, what condition this property is in. What type of flooring is throughout the house? You got carpet throughout the house? You got hardwood throughout the house? Do you have tile in the kitchen? Do you have tile in the bathroom? Right? So you're getting real detail and trying to understand what type of repairs need to be done to this property. So I'm just going to assume this property needs a lot of work, right? Since we don't have photos of the property, it's kind of hard to see what needs to be done to it. And that's why we need to ask the questions. So I'm looking at the property, looking at the structure. I'm looking here on the roof. And then here's another thing too. If you look at the bottom on the Google satellite, it'll tell you when the image is captured. It says it was captured March 2022. So this
Mm-hmm.
is probably a more realistic and more updated visual of what this property looks like. So this property, I'm pretty sure it's probably gonna need a new roof. The siding look like it's in decent shape. Windows definitely gonna have to be replaced. From the exterior, looks like it's gonna need some work for sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and estimate that this property probably requires maybe about 60 grand worth of work. It could be more, but I'm gonna just say 60 grand, right? But mind you, I'm just estimating the repair cost because I don't know what the interior looks like. That's our job as investors to get details on what the interior looks like to make a more educated and calculated, cost or repair estimate. So I'm just say 60 grand, right? So we had 185, 500 minus 60 grand. That gives us 125, 500. So an investor would pay 125,000 for this property with those repair estimates, right? Now, you don't make money if you sell it to an investor for 120 for the 125 and you got it under contract for 125. Now you need to put in your assignment fee, right? So let's say you want a $10,000 assignment fee. You take that 125 minus 10,000, you got 115, 500. That's your offer to the seller. That's your max offer to the seller in order to make 10,000. Now let's say the seller says, "Hey, I want 120." Okay, well, you can lock it up for 120 and just make 5K.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be greedy. Like as you said earlier, you don't have to be greedy. Take what you can get because you got to think about it. You might be planting the seed. You helping the seller in a situation. If it pays you 5,000 to help the seller in the situation, take the money. You never know where you might never know where that 5,000 or that deal might take you. We did a deal. I'm gonna give you guys a story. We did a deal for 5 grand in I want to say November. Close the deal 5 grand. October, November. Close the deal 5 grand. Assignment fee. A month later, 2 months later, this end of December, the same seller reached back out to us and said, "Hey, my father just passed away. I got another property. I want to work with you guys because you guys, did a good job on the other property. It's in his will that we sell the property. Beautiful house in Woodstock. If you're driving for dollars, you would never put this property on your list. But it was a situation that made her sell it. So that $5,000 that we made on the wholesale deal back in November, we end up making 48,000 on the one in January from that deal being closed. So take that as okay. I never know what's going to happen from that, right? You performed on the deal, so you never know if they have somebody else that's looking to sell. Oh, they know to go to Ty. Oh, he closed on my house. So hey, John, Ty closed on my house. Give him a call. He paid me 100 grand for my property. I know he'll get you right because he took care of me. So you never know. Those referrals come in too. That's another form of marketing that you don't have to pay for.
So you
So don't.
made you was willing to take the loss on how much you could possibly make, and you made 5K, was it,
Mm-hmm.
on that one, and but because you took care of them as if you made 100K on the deal,
Yep.
they turned around, connected you with someone else, and that made you guys net how much on the next one?
48,000.
Come on, man. Look,
Right.
just for you. I
There you
found.
go.
You see
There you
what
go.
I'm saying? Like it don't get no better than that. Like you didn't have to do no marketing for that 48,000.
Nope. Just close the deal that I already had. I didn't get greedy. We didn't want to push and try to renegotiate the seller to get more money, anything like that. We wanted to help them out in that situation. We helped them, and then there was another situation that came out,
There you
and we
go.
helped them. And she was getting higher offers on the other house, but she said, "Hey, I want to work with you guys because I feel more comfortable with you guys. I know you guys. You close on mine. You know, when you put $100,000 in somebody's pockets, they're gonna be if they want more money, they know they're gonna come back to you."
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the point. You know, it's not always about the amount of money you make. Don't focus on the amount of money. You're gonna make the money. If you
Mm-hmm.
focus on helping people and being a good person and doing good business, the money's gonna come. It may not
No.
come today. It may not come on this deal. It may not come on the next 5 deals. But trust me, if you apply the same energy to every property, every situation, you're gonna get the money.
Facts.
Um, so in this case, I will get this property under contract for 115,000 and sell it to an end buyer for 125,000. And one thing I want to show you guys, last thing on this, I'm looking and I see like people are paying more. Like somebody paid 150 for this property right here on Drummond Street. I don't think this is accurate on the beds and bath, but somebody paid 150 on this. So I know if I get it under contract for 115,000, it's an opportunity for get a deal done for sure.
There you go.
And then it looks like this one right here, it actually sold the property that we're looking at. Check this out. It sold to Launchpad Real Estate Investments. That sound like Abraham.
That's Abraham's. Yeah.
It sold to Abraham. How much Abraham paid for that? Let's see. Abraham paid 120.
He paid 120 for the one right next door.
No, for this property that we're comping.
Yeah.
But check this out. So my offer made sense, right? He paid 120.
Yup. Yup.
I said I would get this under contract for 115. Abraham paid 120. You probably could have pushed Abraham for 125.
Spot on, bro.
So, you know, if the numbers make sense, it's a deal. So that's why it's important. That's dope.
I'm gonna go ahead and
I got one more.
screenshot this time. Like, look, man,
Oh shit, I popped out of it. Let me go back to it.
you got your property.
All right.
You got the other one?
Yep, I'm about to go to the other one right now.
All right. So while you do that one, I'll work on the last one. Which one you doing?
I'm doing 1831 Monroe.
All right, I'll do the other one.
Y'all got some questions? Go ahead and drop them, man.
For
If
sure.
y'all getting value, let E know, man. Let them know. You got to respond. Let them know that you guys are learning. You guys are soaking in the information, and you know what he's doing is not for what he's not wasting. You know everybody's time. Like if you guys are genuinely gathering information that you feel can help you, just let him know. That way he can do more of these type of things, right? Consistently do it so you can consistently learn. Maybe this Fridays is going to be a comp session. Maybe another day, not Fridays, Thursdays is a comp session. You know, he does cash buyer Fridays, right?
Oh yeah. Oh,
He
speaking of which,
might have another day where he provides value. Hey, let's find sellers, market Mondays or something like that. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. In fact, I like that, man. That might be one we should do together.
Hey, market Mondays is cool, man.
That sounds fire. We'll definitely talk offline about that. I like that one. Market Monday. So listen, we got Cash Buy Fridays is something that we do. We do it at least twice every month. Not this Friday, which is tomorrow, but the following Friday, we're going to be doing one. It's going to be one of our first ones that we do. That's going to be in a townhome. We've never done a townhome before, and it's going to be my guy Ty and his partner's townhome that they're currently doing a fix and flip with. So here's the whole synopsis behind doing a cash buyer Friday. We go to the buyer's property. They have their contract out there with us. They walk us through the deal, how they found the deal, how much they paid for the deal, what the rehab cost is going to be like. A lot of people hit me up and be like, man, I got these properties, but I have no cash buyers. I promise you, if you just show up to the Cash Buyer Fridays, you'll get all the cash buyers you need to be able to make six figures this year. Guaranteed. Ty and his partner are still buying properties. So that's definitely what you guys want to be able to look at. Look out for more information. You're going to find that on all of our IGs. You're going to find it on Facebook. You reach out to us, go to the real estate connections group. You'll be able to see that as well. Look at this. My Google caught my man taking a shit. That's
Yeah, they did, man. Why they do my guy like that?
But yeah, definitely look out for that. We're gonna post the time and the address when we get to when we post that. We'll probably start posting it tomorrow, and that's gonna be selective. We're not gonna have everybody show up to that one. We're gonna have a small group. But if you do get selected, if you're one of the first to join us, I promise you, Ty has so much stuff that he's coming out with. It's crazy. This dude is probably one of the only biggest go givers than I am. And if you're one of the ones that are able to join, I promise you, you're gonna love it. It's gonna be the best, and it's gonna be dope. Again, look out for that tomorrow. We'll be posting the address and how to be able to sign up on that Cash Buyer Friday. So let's do it.
Yes, sir. So I'm looking at this property here. This 1831 Monroe Drive. This one is a weird one. Trying to understand what it is.
We like the weird ones. They're the good ones.
Yeah, the weird ones. If I can't find an ARV, I'm taking this estimate. Cut that in half. That's my offer.
Yep. Plain and simple.
Okay, so here at least we got an image of what this house looks like. So here we go. Let's run it. So 1831 Monroe Drive. So we're looking at the details of the property, right? 3-bed, 2-bath, 2,100 square feet, year built, 1987. Now let's go to the comparables. So it's a lot of activity in this area. But it's Atlanta. So that's one thing about Atlanta. Atlanta is weird sometimes, right? You can be in a half a mile radius or, of the subject property and the prices can be completely different. So that's why in Atlanta, if you come across a lot of comparables when you first start searching, you want to narrow it down to get as close as possible to your subject property to get the most accuracy. So now we niched it down to 28. Let's exclude multi-parcel sales because sometimes there'll be like $1 million comparables on here, but that just means like certain areas. That just means like somebody bought a package deal. They bought like 5 properties, 3 properties, or something like that. This thing right here, man, slow. All right, and then the year built, 1987. Let's just go up to 1997. See all of these. Ours says single family residential. There's some townhouses that popped up in here, so we want to adjust the property type just to only show single family. So we're niching it all the way down. All right, cool. So we have a few right here on Monroe Drive. But we want to see if they look the same, right? Because sometimes if they don't look the same, we can't compare those two. We can't compare ranch to split level. We got to compare ranch to ranch, split level to split level, etc. So what's weird about this property right here is that it's not on the main street, but it is on the main street. There's like a driveway that goes to it, which is kind of weird, right? It's like the backyard of somebody else's property.
Yeah.
Like that's a weird layout for a lot. I've never seen anything like that. So we still want to do our same process, right? We still want to compare apples to apples and see what we can find. We can't find much, like I said. I was already in the mindset of we'll take the Zillow, cut it in half, or it's by 60%. So let's see what we got here though. So we got 1930, 1940, 1930, 1950. So a lot of these properties are way older than the property that we're looking at. That could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. You may come across some properties that are super old that are historic. Sometimes historic properties If they're in like a small town or in a certain town, they're historic properties, those values are a little are higher than a property that's built, 10, 15 years newer because it's
Mhm.
historic. So those are some things you have to kind of pay attention to as well. So I want to look at these properties and see what we're looking at, see what our property looks like. So our property looks like this, looks like it's maybe 3 stories. So I'm thinking already in my head it's probably going to be a little bit difficult to compare. So let's see what we can find. Let's see what these houses look like that are near it. So this Monroe Drive, I want to see what Monroe Drive looks like. Go through this real quick. Let's see. I think the screen shares is what causing the lag,
Yeah, probably.
but as you can see, like I do like a quick little gauge, right, and seeing what properties values are from what I'm seeing right on here. But ideally, I'm gonna look at number one, number two, because they're really close to that property that we're looking at. Number one, and number two is like literally right across the street. Another thing too, um, crossing main intersections and things like that, the property values could be different as well. So if you can stay
Mhm.
on one side of the intersection, then that's great. But sometimes you have to see what you can work with. So this one number three is on the same side of the street right here, but it's all on Monroe Drive. So I'm pretty okay with these properties right here. Um, so let's see, did the picture come up? Nope, that's the one we're working on. But I want to see what the images are of these properties because that's important.
Now, what if you can't get images? Right? What if we in a position like this and it's like, yo, every property that would be a comp can't get the images? What would you do next?
Well, one, I would probably try to get a picture from the seller, see if they'll send me a photo of the front. There's other like websites that you can get an image of the front. Like right here, we kind of found one on Zillow for the other one down the street. I would have the seller kind of explain the property, right? We know what our property looks like. Our subject property, is like this. Are you talking about getting images of the other ones? But yeah, just try different websites. Sometimes you have to read the descriptions. They'll let you know if it's like a ranch style townhouse, split level, 2 story, things like that.
Hmm.
Um, and that's pretty much kind of what I would do to kind of figure out what those properties look like that we're not focusing on as far as our subject property, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Uh, this one can't compare it. It's like a ranch style. It's not. It doesn't even look like our property. Like this is what our property looks like. Can't even compare it. So we're not even going to count that one. And that's what I'm thinking most of these properties look like. I think we can only compare these properties in this area right here, right? Um, but you can probably do the beds, compare the beds and the bath, right? So I would probably do that. So let's see, the 3-3. So this one sold for 680. This one is tough. I'm not even gonna front. I'll be honest with you. I'll probably stay away from this one. I'll offer half a Zillow and call it a day.
Keep moving. So listen, you
That's
got.
probably what I would do.
It's funny because the property I'm working on right now is very very similar, but for the opposite reason. It's in a very high end area, and so all the houses over here are all different and expensive.
Hmm.
So what's my thought process? It's two things, right? Either now, mind you, this property here has already tried to get listed on the market and failed. So because I don't have any pictures though, I'm like, all right, it obviously needs to be updated, and there's some things that's involved in it. But from the gate, I'm either going to do one or two things. I'm going to look to see what other buyers have brought in this area, and I will call them and say, hey, how much would you pay me for this?
Yep.
Or I'm going to go to Zillow, which I did, and it said this is the price that is estimated, and I'm gonna come in at half that. And I'm saying like, this is my offer. Tell me what you want to do, and if not, it's cool. I get it.
Yep.
Don't waste your time on stuff that's gonna be way too difficult. If you guys are spending, listen, we're spending a long time doing this now because typically we're walking through every thought process that we have. But when we're doing this, I mean, we're comping properties in like 3 minutes, 4 minutes if we can't find something. We're not
Mm-hmm.
taking all day to do this stuff, right? So if you're comping and you realize, like, damn, it's been 45 minutes, I still can't get this comp, you wasted a lot of time today. Like, half a Zillow or call your cash buyer. And if you don't have a cash buyer, go to PropStream or go to whatever app you want to use, system you want to use to be able to find cash buyers and say, I got a property. How much would you pay for it? I'm assuming it needs a full gut. What do you want for it? And just go off of that. If you have a buyer that's backing you, they'll pay whatever price that they said for a full gut. You can call, make an offer, and say, can I come take a look at the property? When you get pictures, now you now take those pictures, you bring them back to your buyer and say, listen, don't need a full gut. It's a little bit better. And now he's able to raise his or her offer on that property. So again, there's ways to work around it. At the end of the day, all of you on here are problem solvers. That's what we do. And that's how you
Yep.
get the job done.
And then, you have them sellers that don't want to tell you anything about the property and things like that. One inclination is they're not serious. And if they are serious and they do want an offer, they don't tell you what the condition is. Like Eddie's saying, assume that it needs a full rehab and offer them low, half a Zillow,
Half
right?
Zillow.
And um,
Hold
but
on.
yeah,
He said,
but
feel
yeah, like
bad.
he's saying,
He said,
you don't want to waste your time, doing that because your time is more better spent looking for property. There are easier properties to comp out here. Um, so, you don't want to waste your time spending, 45 minutes, 30, 40 minutes on comping a property. But what I did want to point out real quick, what I seen here, Eddie brought it up. He's like, see what the cash buyers are paying. So like I said, PropStream, shows some cash transactions. We got 2 cash transactions right here. Number 7 and number 9. How far away are they? They're not too far away. They're within a quarter of a mile from the property. And these guys both paid about $650 cash for these houses. So,
mm-hmm.
like Eddie's saying, let me go see who the hell is this? Who bought this? I'm gonna search them up because you can get the LLC here. If you want to find out who the LLC owner is, you can go to opencorporates.com, type in the LLC, see who's the manager, see who's the owner, things like that, and kind of backtrace it, look them up. Use whatever skip tracing provider you use to find their contact information. So it looks like these people bought it. John and Taylor Daly, they paid $650,000 for this property. Link Properties, let me see, they own 2 properties. So these people, the property that they live in is Greenland. The one that they bought is Kilburn. So it sounds like to me, these people are investors. So I'm gonna give them a call. Hey, how much would you pay for the property that I have here on Monroe?
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying they paying around $650. And that's kind of what I would rock with and see what happens.
There you
But the
go.
main point of that, if it's difficult to comp, offer 50 to 60% of Zillow and keep it moving.
That's it. And send them this sound like, and then keep rolling with it. Keep rolling. Do you guys often comp properties from other wholesalers? Absolutely. I absolutely comp properties the same way as investors always do their own comps. They always run their own numbers, but I do it because I want to make sure that I'm on par with what they're thinking. And if they're wrong and they want to learn why they're wrong, I'll be able to teach them so that next time they can send me a deal that actually works, is comped correctly, and we can make money together. So, yep, for sure. Always doing that. All right. Well, my guy, man, yo, you killed it, bro. Like, I don't know what to say, fam.
Hey man, just want to give value to the people, man. I didn't have, this help when I first got started, right? Or I didn't find it, I couldn't see it, or I don't know where it was. I had to figure it out myself. So right here, what you're doing is definitely a cheat code.
Yeah,
You're accelerating people's process. This is a whole freaking webinar on how to comp properties, which you have to do. It's a skill set that you need in order to do this business. It's
yeah,
necessary. It's necessary. It's mandatory. You gotta know it.
yeah. No, I like that first word, man. Nesamori.
Necessary.
Necessary. It's necessary, man. Yeah. Right. Look, on everything, that should be a shirt, man. Like, yo, it's necessary. Listen, man, I agree with you 1,000%. That's why we do what we do. We didn't have some of these things, or it just wasn't available to us, right? But we're changing the narrative. We're changing the game and how it's done and how it can be done. And we're looking to work with each other, partner with each other on things. And we got a bunch of amazing stuff coming by. So kudos to you for coming out. Kudos to you guys for being in the chat. Listen, if you found any value, do me a favor. Please go follow my guy Ty. If you're not following him, he's got an amazing Discord. He's got some fire stuff coming out. I'm not gonna blow it up yet. I'm gonna let him do what he do. But I promise you, when he come out with it, it's gonna be worthwhile. Follow me on that's Flip on IG. You guys want to be able to reach out to us, you can do so online as well. You guys know what's it called? Atlanta Joint Venture on Facebook is always available. We got a new group that we just started off with one of the largest cash buyers in. I'm trying to share my screen real quick. Hold up. See if I can show you guys this. All right, so here, Atlanta Joint Venture. That's the group. Join it. It's free to join. We currently have 571 people here. Majority of people in here are individuals who are focused on doing real estate business and deals in Atlanta. We have a new group here, Atlanta Elite Real Estate Connections. It's probably just end up being called Atlanta Elite Connections. And this whole entire group here is just based off of giving value from different type of arenas. So it would be real estate in there, but it's also going to be buying and selling businesses. It's also going to be all different types of connections that typically you would have to really know the right person or pay a lot of money to be able to do. We're going to do that for free, right? And the whole purpose behind that is the more people we put on, the more people are able to grab this information and learn, are going to be able to make more money faster and make more money together. And that's the whole entire point. That's all it's about. You say something to me, Ty?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. So with that being said, I love you all. We out. Thanks for chiming in. It's going to be back again next Thursday, 3 p.m. We'll be here. Bring your deals. I also want to give you a hint, clue. If you're on here and you bring a deal, I have buyers that are hitting me up on a chat. Like, yo, if you don't want that one, I will gladly take it. So this is a good way for you to not only get buyers, but also to be able to get your property sold just by coming on here and learning how to comp properties in ATL, baby. So with that being said, love Ty. Anything else you want to leave for the people?
Hey, man, consistent action every day. You're going to get results. You're bound to win. You only lose when you quit. So every single day, you need to be putting energy and effort towards your grind.
That's
And,
it.
have that delayed gratification. It's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Just keep grinding and deals going to come. And always network and connect. Get out your comfort zone. Tap in with Eddy. Tap in with everybody in the room. And, let's work together to get the bag. We can't do it by ourselves. There's plenty of money out here for everybody to win.
Absolutely. And those of you who want the Excel spreadsheet that he talked about, for sure, make sure you take a screenshot, post it on IG, post it on Facebook, tag us in it. So when you post it, we get alerted and we will send that out to you. If you have any questions on it, we're here to help. This is what we do, right? What I'm looking for, somebody asked me today, like, man, I really want to be able to connect with you. What are you looking for? I'm looking for three things and three things only. I'm looking for more deals, business opportunities. If you got a deal, if you got a business, we're looking to buy businesses, we're buying properties, we're doing multifamily land. We have Top Brokerage, it's a brokerage company that I own with my partners. And we're also working on some other things that I can't really talk about right now, but we're going to supply and help as much as we can, especially in our home base in Atlanta. Atlanta is an amazing market. It's a bunch of people making money here, and now we're really going to solidify how we get down. The second thing I'm looking for is private money. People are reaching out and saying, listen, I want to be able to involve myself in real estate. How do I go about doing that? We take that money, we invest it into properties. They're able to make money from it passively and also make money on being able to learn how to be able to fix and flip properties and do different things like Airbnbs and et cetera. Third thing is I'm looking for people who just want to learn. Whether that means you want to come and be part of the team and earn money while you learn, or if you want to be able to say, listen, I need 6 months to just learn how you do what you do, or a year, learn how you do what you do, and then I want to start my own thing. We are all for that. We have no problem. We deal with proper expectations. If you tell me that's what you want in the beginning, that's exactly what we're going to work on. We've already done it with successful people who came into our business. Shout out to Sneaker Investor. Came into our business, didn't know anything much about wholesaling. Not only became an amazing wholesaler, now they have a six-figure wholesaling company and are doing amazing things as well. And we, to this day, we still partner with them. That's the crazy thing, right? Like we're not building, I don't see people as my competition. I see them as partners. We can collaborate, do things together, and make more money together. This is how it should be, and how we're going to make sure we push this whole movement forward. So with that being said, I love y'all. Stay easy, stay peace, stay charged up. Peace.
Later.